Today, I'll be discussing the potential fourth stimulus check and where we're at with that. Also, President Biden is running out of time for his two infrastructure spending bills and Republican support. Midterm election cycles are beginning soon, and we could see a major twist in 2022. Hello, and welcome to today's May 4th daily news report, as well as ongoing stimulus check information video. If you're a subscribed member of my community, then welcome back. And if you're not, consider subscribing right now. All right, those of you who have been following me, I'm not at my office, as you can tell by the background. My wife and I are on a little work/anniversary getaway, so I appreciate you being patient while I step away really quick to give you guys this update. All right, now a petition in favor of $2,000 monthly recurring stimulus checks is starting to grab attention and is circulating. In fact, as of right now, it has over 2 million signatures to try to get the attention of lawmakers in Washington, D.C. The rapid growth and public interest may catch the eyes of politicians who don't believe that the American people want or need a fourth stimulus check. The petition has also been discussed on several major news networks, which is probably why it's already to 2 million signatures. So go look for that petition. I apologize, I didn't have time to find it on today's update, but just look up $2,000 stimulus check petition. I believe it's on change.org, and you can go add your name if you think that $2,000 monthly recurring stimulus checks has a chance of passing in Washington, D.C. Now, at its current rate, there are at least 52 members of the House of Representatives, all Democrats, and 21 senators in the Senate, all Democrats, that have voiced support for some form of recurring stimulus check. Maybe not $2,000 a month, maybe not $1,000 a month, but some kind of recurring stimulus check. These numbers indicate great support for a fourth stimulus check. That means that nearly 24% of the House of Representatives and 44% of the Senate want to see some kind of fourth stimulus check, whether that's a one-time $2,000 stimulus check or $1,200 or $600, some level of stimulus check is wanted by this percentage of Congress. And so because of that, they are going to continue to push on behalf of the American people to get some level of stimulus included in either the Build Back Better plan or the American Families Plan. They're going to be working on both of these. They're already starting to meet in committees to discuss what is the need based on unemployment rates, based on how many jobs are available, based on how much debt they're willing to incur, okay? So now, listen, I have no idea if Washington, D.C. is going to go for a $2,000 recurring stimulus check. From the numbers that I've run and from just last year, $2,000 every single month for over 150 million Americans. I don't think that's on the table, but it's being discussed in the news, so I'm bringing it to you. But, you know, now unemployment is significantly lower than it was last summer. Coronavirus cases are significantly lower than they were last summer. So although I want to bring this information to you, I also want to give context to the situation we're in compared to last summer. So hopefully you appreciate that I'm not using crazy, outlandish titles in my videos or saying, yes, Biden's going to do it, right? Like, I don't know, but it's in the news and there is support for it. So that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. Now, what I could see, and this is just my opinion just for 1 minute, and then I'll get back to the news, right? I could see a smaller stimulus check going to a large group of people, or a large group of people getting some kind of smaller check, right? So I definitely think that there could be something there. So it either needs to be a smaller check or a smaller group of people, just based on unemployment rates, how many jobs are available, unemployment numbers. So anyway, that's where I think it could go. But let me get back to what's going on in Washington, D.C. Now, as a quick thought experiment, imagine how many more members of Congress would be on board for a fourth stimulus check if they dropped the word recurring, right? So maybe if these 24 House representatives and 44% of senators said, let's do a one-time stimulus check, would that get more attention than saying, hey, we're going to give 150 million people $2,000 every single month with no definite date of ending this program? I think that's the big hang-up, is spending into eternity is what's holding up some of these people. Now, in terms of timing, President Joe Biden and his allies are starting to realize that they have a limited time frame to actually push through legislation before the midterm election cycle begins. The midterm election is famous for causing delays in all kinds of bills, regardless of party, because people start to throw out political ads and go after each other and point out the good, the bad, the ugly, right? So things could get pretty ugly here in the next little while as those midterm elections start to heat up. Republicans have said this overspending by Democrats is what's going to help them win back the Senate and the House, while Democrats have said Republicans' lack of spending is what's going to help them keep their majority. So both are trying to use this to their advantage. Now, an undisclosed person who's familiar with the negotiations going on at the White House and in Congress on the $2.25 trillion infrastructure bill say that the White House is now calling for all counteroffers to be in by next week. Biden wants those in early and wants to be able to start reviewing them. Republicans, as of right now, are pushing for a narrower spending bill, citing that they may need to cut out a large portion of what's going on as they see it under their definition of infrastructure. Only about 5 to 6% of the over $2 trillion goes to infrastructure. The rest goes to what they believe are pet projects or unnecessary projects at this time. Now, there was a lot of money passed in the $1.9 trillion spending bill. There's also a lot of leftover money from President Trump. And so one senator here in a minute is going to say, why don't we use that money to help the American people versus creating more debt, more future obligation on our children, and the inevitable raising of taxes to pay for this money, okay? Now, Biden has already stated that he will decline any offer that does not look like a legitimate offer. So if they come in at 20% of his bill or even 25% of his bill, he says it's a no-go for him and that he'll just move forward with a reconciliation bill and bypass 100% of Republicans. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell stated yesterday that he believes 0 Republicans are going to support a $2.25 trillion spending package where only 5 to 6% goes towards infrastructure. He said that their party will be putting forward a $600 billion infrastructure package. Key Republicans will be meeting at the White House later this week, according to Chief of Staff Ron Klain. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders stated that his assumption is that Republicans are not serious about a major infrastructure bill, which would include significant funding for infrastructure, for climate change, and for affordable housing, and certainly for human infrastructure. So for Bernie Sanders, he doesn't look at this as spending money on roads and bridges and airports and bus stations and transportation. For him, this is more about human infrastructure and taxing the wealthy. So we'll see where it all shakes out. Now, in simple terms, President Biden is worried as this year is most likely the best time for him to push through these massive spending bills before the midterm elections. He's simply running out of time, and he keeps claiming he wants to unify the country, but he has no Republican support right now. So he literally has lost half the country as far as getting the spending bill passed. Now, a major worry among U.S. economists is that all this new debt being created is going to be the root cause of the costs and goods of services and everyday items to skyrocket. They're saying that this will not only cause major inflation, but it's going to weaken the U.S. dollar and to have rising costs on people that are already struggling, while at the same time losing our power in the world is a major problem. Now, on the flip side of that, among the American people, Mammoth University did a study showing that 68% of people support the new infrastructure bill, including 32% of Republicans. In response to this, President Biden is going to actually fly to the state of Louisiana and stump or do a speech for the new infrastructure bills. So he's going to actually start visiting Republican states to try to educate them on what he's doing and why he's trying to do this. Now, I will say that if the people believe that there are going to be stimulus checks, they are going to be in support of this bill. If it's not, and it's just a bunch of wasteful spending, then they're not going to be in support of this bill. So they've got to really dial in what they want in the first spending bill and the second spending bill. All right, now Senator John Kennedy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana said that the president's plan is not an infrastructure plan. It's a Green New Deal and a welfare plan. In fact, it's a total mess. But he said he would consider, somebody called me, how rude. He said that he would consider an infrastructure deal if they could figure out how to reduce what they're spending the money on and how to pay for it. He said, certainly we could do more for the American people if we weren't sending checks to dead people in other countries. So he's definitely against that. All right. Now, by the way, I just want to say thank you guys so much for giving these videos a like. A lot of effort goes into researching this information and then putting these videos together. So I really, really appreciate it. All right. Now, so Senator Kennedy essentially wants to reduce the amount of money being spent in the bill, and he wants to tap in to some of the money from President Trump's spending bills and also from President Biden's own spending bill. As of right now, there's nearly $1 trillion sitting there doing nothing. So he says, why are we about to take on $2.25 trillion when we haven't already spent the $1 trillion sitting at the bank in Washington, D.C.? We can do more for the people. We could do more for the country. Okay. Now, there is a battle going on right now between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans want children back in school today. Democrats want children to go back to school next year. Over 80% of school employees and teachers have now been vaccinated. And so Republicans say it's time to get children back into school, if for no other reason, their mental health. So there's still some debate on when is the proper time to get back in. Now, the other day, Republican Senator Mitt Romney was booed off the stage at his own Republican convention in Utah. This is because Romney was the only senator to try to impeach President Trump twice. So it turns out the people in Utah were not happy with that. Trump certainly still has a lot of power within the Republican Party. It will be interesting to see as things heat up for the 2022 midterm elections what goes on between Democrats and Republicans. All right. Well, each day is a different day in Washington, D.C., isn't it, guys? All right. I apologize for somebody trying to call me. I didn't know how to mute this computer. All right. Now, I want to leave you with one last thing. In December, as we were dealing with the stimulus check situation, there was no stimulus check included. It wasn't until Senator Hawley and President Trump demanded stimulus checks that they were included. So this could all happen very, very last minute. So just keep that in mind, okay? The other thing is the $10,200 of tax-free money on your unemployment. That was added on the very last day of the bill. So again, a lot could change. So I appreciate you guys tuning in to these updates. Every day is a different day, but I'll continue to bring you information. As I let you go, I just want to remind you that you are amazing. I appreciate you being in my community, and I'll see you on the next video.